Hey guys, thanks for joining us. Happy Thursday and happy pre-PPAI. Today we're going to talk about our roadmap and what we have set up for our 5-year goal to reach 21 million in revenue. And so I am James Hamsey. This is Gene Hamsey. He's getting some stuff set up real quick. He did a quick restart on his computer.
Yeah, I'm a little behind.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're good. You're good. So, anyways, but one of the things we're going to talk about is our 5-year plan and kind of what we're working there. And then we're doing we've got just a ton of projects going, which I kind of see them outlined here. But one of the big projects that we're working on right now is our website upgrade. We're doing it's a version upgrade for like the back end security stuff, and then it's also a whole like facelift to the front end of it as well, and kind of a new sitemap and stuff. And so I'm going to walk you through just kind of what we've done to set that up so far, and kind of the where we're at right now. We have a very lofty goal of getting it done by getting it implemented by February 28th, which is going to be a heck of a challenge, but we're doing everything we can to make sure that we stay on track with that. And so I'll just kind of talk about how we manage that and the things that we're doing for the progress for that. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be good. So we like some of you guys might have seen our little heart to heart video we posted yesterday as we were kind of preparing for FireHour today. And it's like, man, we got so much we're working on, and to prepare separate content for FireHour was really kind of dragging on us. And it's like, we don't have time for this. And that's when we just kind of stepped back and said, you know what, let's talk about what we're actually doing. Because in all reality, that's probably what you want to see anyway, if you're kind of watching this. So anyway, very much encourage you to post questions down below. Please post them to the YouTube video or the Facebook post. That really helps us out a lot when you do that, rather than, kind of sending. Some of you guys have my cell phone number, or you do Facebook messaging. That is fantastic. Happy to answer questions like that. But what really helps us is if you make them public, and then we can share the answers to that with everybody else. That said, if you feel a little shy, or for whatever reason you don't want to do that, we still welcome the questions any way you want to send them to us.
Bob Hutchinson is in the house.
Yes, Bob Hutchinson.
James Duncan.
And yes, two of our favorite fans. So thank you very
And
much.
if you're going to be at, PPAI starts Monday.
Yeah.
Well, our setup day is Monday. Tuesday is the start of PPAI in Las Vegas. If you're going to be there, we would love to meet you in person.
What booth are we at?
We're at booth 1513.
You sure?
Pretty sure.
James and I will be there.
Yeah.
So look us up, Fire Sprint. We're definitely there. Make sure you stop by and say hi. And if you want to, go grab a drink with us or something after the fact, I think most of our evenings are still pretty open. So we'd be happy to buy you a beer or dinner or whatever you want to do. Let's go hang out a little bit and talk shop.
Yeah. And so we'll be there. We're booth 1513. I'm 99% sure.
1513.
So, but anyway, everybody downloads the app and put Fire Sprint in there, and you'll see us. Or if you walk the show floor, you'll run into us eventually. But so anyways, let us know if you're going to be there. We'd love to meet you in person.
So let's go through, before we dive, I know you want to talk about the website. You're very eager to talk about it. And frankly, we've done a really good job of, you have taken you and Jay, and we've got our web team. There's about 5 or 6 people who are like really devoted full time for the next 2 months to get our website changeover, because it's one of the biggest lifts we have over the next 2 months. And we want to get it done before we start to get really busy.
Yeah.
About early to mid March, we start to really ramp up. And so we're working hard on that. So that's a huge thing. But before we get into that, let's talk about the bigger plan that we have in terms of our 5-year roadmap that we're kind of looking towards, which 5 years is a long time. I mean, I feel like planning out 5 years is like important for your company. It's important for us to like think about what things look like in 5 years, but then like actually trying to put action plans and steps together 5 years out, or like, it feels almost worthless to me. And because it's just so much is going to change between now and then.
Yeah.
So we're starting to learn that, yes, we've got kind of these 5-year goals, which are big goals in 5 years, is 21 million in revenue. So it's about 3 times what we did in 2024.
Yeah.
But like, how do we get there actually has a lot more to do with what we're doing this quarter than what we're doing in quarter 13 of our 5-year plan, right?
What's important though, when you are setting a 5-year goal, is you have a WIG, a wildly important goal.
Yeah.
That you're lofting, and it's out there, and you know that's that. And then how you get there, understand that route could change, right? Because there's a lot of problems that are going to rear their face when they, or show their face, I guess, when this as we grow and as we go into things and stuff. I mean, there's a couple points. Like one of the things that we don't actually have on here is, there's a possibility that we have to move in this process, right?
Yeah,
And so,
it is kind of on here. We
good.
get into that, but yeah. Why don't you share your screen, James? Are you good to do that? And
yeah,
then
Andrew, you got our
let's. This is a roadmap that we built. Ernie here actually has really been championing this.
So we've mentioned Jay and Ernie, which they're not actually in our facility, but they are.
The simplest way to put it, in a way you'd understand, they're consultants, right?
Yeah,
they're
yeah. So
they're,
Jay
they're
is our
on retainer
marketing-
with us. Yeah.
Yeah, Jay's our marketing consultant, and so I typically work with him. Just about we talk just about every day, but sometimes multiple times a day and stuff. But then Ernie is our CFO consultant, so he works with Mark hand in hand. And we kind of started a few months ago. We tried to do our strategic planning session, which we did one a few years ago, and some of it actually happened, other things kind of fell off and stuff. But we're like, we need this new kind of plan to like help drive and help motivate us and stuff. And it's cool for the whole team to see a plan come together like this, because it gives them something to work towards. It gives them something to be excited about, puts energy back into the company. And we actually flew. So Ernie lives in New York, and so we actually had Ernie come to Omaha to be with us during that. And then Jay lives here in Omaha, so that was easy. So he came, and having them both in the room, just when you've got two people that are outside of the organization, but pretty embedded into the organization, that are not me, Gene, and Mark, because we're three partners, for 17 years now, and it's like sometimes we get stuck in our ways, or sometimes we get like into loggerhead and stuff, and so it's cool to see those guys when you have somebody who really knows their crap. Like
They really do. They will keep a conversation going. They will pull us back on track. They're pretty amazing.
If they sense tension about something, they'll reroute it.
Yeah,
Right.
they're good at that. They're very good at that, and that just comes with experience and who they are. And then they seem to really like us. They like what we're trying to do and be part of a growing company, which is always fun.
Yeah.
And so it's fantastic. They do a great job. But anyway, let's talk about this. But let's skip marketing, because I know you're like going to talk for an hour about marketing if I let you, right? So, or if I'm not going to let you, but like you'll do it if you want.
Sure.
But let's talk about kind of go through these sections one at a time here. So we have the way we've set this up here is really Ernie did most of this, but the way this is set up here, we've got our roadmap. You've got kind of the vision for the big areas of our company, the initiatives that are kind of the high level like concepts that we need to accomplish to actually accomplish our vision, that we need to get done to accomplish our vision. And then we have individual action plans, which we'll talk about those verbally. We're not going to get into too many of them on the in the live stream here, but sales and services. So the vision is to boost client satisfaction, business growth by enhancing responsiveness, proactively strengthening client relationships, and fostering our team's growth and capabilities. And so, that's kind of a broad statement, but can you unpack that a little bit? I mean, what is what, and maybe go into the initiatives that we have that we're trying to do with sales and client services to try. And we don't have salespeople. We really have client service team that does some outbound, just checking in. But beyond that, like we don't have a commissioned salesperson or anything.
Well, this is actually we had a commissioned salesperson a few years ago, and we just kind of realized that it wasn't something that it wasn't the path that we really wanted to take, because it's hard when you have a salesperson in a company like ours where we've got 2,500, 2,600 clients that all average around a few $1,000s a piece or so, or whatever the number is. I don't know off the top of my head, but they all average around that. Your focus needs to be on them, right? Because they're the ones that keep us going day in and day out, right? They place the $75 order, the $125 order, the $200 order, and so on, and they place hundreds of those a week, right? And when you have a salesperson, it really drives you towards, like, I want to focus on these 10 clients, and I want to pull as much business out of these 10 clients as I possibly can. And so we pulled back from that, but this year we actually, starting in November, was actually one of our big outreach initiatives that we kind of started, and part of that is we were slowing down going into winter. We wanted to learn from our client base what they liked about us, what they didn't like about us, and stuff. And we've talked to about 800 people or so far this year, or in the last month and a half, and it's been really eye opening for us. and it's been cool. So, but we kind of broke, to get back to this, we broke sales and client services down to 4 steps, which you can see them here: enhance responsiveness to client calls and emails, develop and implement an API program, and then kind of the maintenance component, which we're not even ready to start on that yet. But we want to make sure that it's on our plan so that we're thinking about it. It's there. Develop technical support and training program, and proactive client outreach. And so, obviously, what I was talking about just a moment ago was the proactive client outreach, where we're trying to convert our customer service staff to more like outreach, so that we can learn more about it. And it does a few things, right? The number one thing is it drums up business for us to do that. The second thing that it does is it gets our client services team more in tune with our client base, right? If you're just reactively taking phone calls all day, you're answering their questions and you're not trying to dig into what they are really trying to do.
So that was the fourth one, the proactive client outreach.
Yeah.
That's us making outbound calls. Yeah. So then
Sorry.
we've got, and not to get too deep into it, but we really want to set up an API for clients that have a website. They want to API pump orders directly into us. So we're really looking at a solution called Order Desk to help us with that, Order Desk. And let's not get into too much detail there, because frankly, we don't know what what we're talking about yet. But we find that to be a very strong part of what we need to do. Whether or not we'll be able to set it up in 25, I don't know. But over the next 5 years, it's like an absolute necessity to make that happen. Yeah. And then, of course, with that, we need technical support and training, so our client services team can support basic requests and things like that for those kinds of things. We probably won't make it totally public where you can just sign up for us, because that would be quite a lift. But when somebody reaches out and says, I've got this site, we want to add this product, then we can set that up and make that connection for you. And then, of course, enhance responsiveness to client calls and emails. What's that in 20 seconds?
I mean, that's just making sure that we are answering with a good response very quickly, on the first ring or within 30 minutes of you sending an email. That's the big thing there. And this is Lisa, that is our customer service manager. She's going to take this head on. And she does proactively now. One of the things that we started doing like a year and a half ago that's actually worked wonders is every week. So we record our phone calls. And every single week, Gene, her, and I, the three of us, sit down. And our client services team knows this and stuff because they get the feedback from it. And they seem to really appreciate it because we're able to tackle issues head on.
So what do we do every week?
So every week we listen to – sorry, I'm excited. Every week we listen to we pick out about 10 phone calls and we spot check them. And we look for, different ranges and stuff. And we listen to them. And we give her feedback as to how we think – that could have been handled better, or we praise, the good and stuff. We talk about the bad, praise the good, and
how has that worked?
Phenomenal.
Right, we're seeing continuous improving. Yeah. So, and that's because we've got the right people on the team, right? We have a client services team that likes what they're doing. They want to do what they're doing, and then Lisa wants to support them all, and and so just that kind of feedback loop I feel like they've improved tremendously, and they're really. Because client services it's an extension of us, right? Yeah. I mean, we used to answer the phones.
Yeah.
And so for a decade, we answered the phones. Yeah. And so we want them to answer the phone and treat issues in the same way that we did, right?
Yeah. And that's tough to relay through people.
So jumping into...
I do want to say one thing. Okay, so develop and implement an API program. The reason why that's on there, and I know we wanted to push back because we really don't know what we're doing with it yet, but the reason why that's on there and why it's an important task for us is because we have, so in 2023, we sold to like 1,600 clients that were regular customers. We call them North Star clients in our database. And we had on average 19 orders from our North Star clients. And then in 2024, we boosted that number from 19 to 22, and we grew that number by 400. So we came up to like 2,100 or something. And I said 2,500 before, but 2,100 are actually North Star ones, and there's a metric that qualifies a client for North Star versus just a regular client. And so in 2029, when this is done, in order to reach that, if we're going to follow that same metric and kind of how we've tracked it, we need to boost our average orders per client to like 32 or 33. And then we have to increase our North Star clients by like 1,200 or something like that. And those aren't exact numbers, but they're very close to that. And the way that we do that is by taking our whole mix of clients and just kind of expanding it and growing it a little bit more. And so right now we have, a handful of clients that place several hundred orders with us every, few months or every 6 months. We have to, increase that number. Well, the way that we do that is through an API program, just kind of connecting that and building that,
Well, our clients are asking for it.
Yeah.
So we've had asks on the live stream for it. So
yeah.
Derek Burnett, thank you for joining the live stream. He says he just started using us. Quality's amazing. Thank you so much for your hard work. Thank you for choosing to use us. We really appreciate that. And then Bob says that the email is very quick and helpful and responsive. So that's good to hear, because I know that the team loves to hear that. They work very hard to make sure they take it very seriously, and they're very empowered to do what they need to do.
It's that rusty bus that said that regular Coke is better. He's still drinking Coke Zero.
Genius. No, this is Coke Zero, man. I can't spike my blood sugar.
TJ.
Yeah. No. By the way, I love following you on Facebook and your adventures. I don't do a good enough job because we travel a lot too, and I don't do a good enough job posting my adventures on Facebook. But anyway, and then new pricing calculator on the yard signs. Yes, we lowered pricing on the yard signs. Yard signs are becoming more and more of a competitive market. We're seeing that the margin is dropping out of them. Unfortunately, there's like if you're competing on price alone with yard signs, the margin's going out. So we're trying to help with that and lower our pricing anywhere we can, especially in opportunities where we can be more efficient with things. We want to lower our pricing. But I think the meat of what he's talking about is we have price grids on our website. So you can go to a product and click on it, and there's actually a sell sheet with a price grid that you can print off and modify it, print off, hand to your client. We send out emails when that price changes, and we don't actually do a great job of that right now, but I think that's something that we maybe that's something HubSpot can help us track.
Yeah.
But yeah, because you want those things to stay accurate. So we try very hard to make price changes very slow, and kind of annually, so it's a little more expected. But you're about to.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I think we can do a better job of that for sure. So we'll take note of that. Okay. Do you want to get into, let's see. So production and shipping, let's get into that real quick. So implement lean manufacturing principles. If you guys haven't read this book, this is one of the books that I've read it 4 or 5 times, and it's actually been a little while since I've read it, so I need to read it again. But 2 Second Lean by Paul Akers. We really have enjoyed this because it's for a small shop like ours. He really gives a good roadmap on how to just get the whole team involved. At the scale of Toyota or the scale of even a 500 person organization or something, you do it a little bit differently. He's like, this whole book is about how to engage your team tomorrow without doing a giant Kaizen event, without getting too complicated with it, keeping it really, really simple. And so there's a lot of information in here that's a good roadmap that we have really enjoyed. So I think you can download the audio and the PDF version for free on his website too. It's not, I obviously paid for the paperbacks, but he offers it for free. So it's a good book, and it's really sparked a lot of,
we can post a link.
Yeah, we can do that. And then, so we just want to get back into that, doing more lean. And then our team is getting really excited about some of the things that we're doing. Cross-training program kind of falls into all that same thing. We're really trying to move towards not having specific. We have operators who all they come in and do is run the Durst all day. And we have operators, all they come in and do is cut Zune, Zune cutting all day. And we're trying to get to a more nimble team that, can go where the work is needed. Mm-hmm. So that's a huge thing. Fast production, this is going to take some time, but we'd really like to get to 85% same or next day. Right now we're at about depending on the season, we're between 30 and 50% next day. And then another 20 or 30% the following day. So 2 days, we'd like to get to 85% next day. Double the capacity in 2025. So we figure in September we hit capacity caps. If you have been following us for any time, In September, we had a banner across the top of our website said we were at 115% capacity. Probably certain days we got up to 150% capacity, 115 to 150%.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad. And so we feel like we left a lot of money on the table. And just really let a lot of our clients down with not shipping as fast as we wanted to. We are much harder on ourselves than we show. So we'll do a 2 to 4 day range. Like when you order, it says 2 to 4 business days. We say we're going to ship it in 2. At 3 days, it's late. At 4 days, it's 2 days late, even though technically we're within what we said we were going to do. So a lot of the perception isn't as bad as we make it out, but we hit those capacity limits quite a bit. So we feel like we need to double it in order to give room for expansion to actually grow to triple. And then again, I think we're going to have to double again in 2028. We are 100% in-house production, which is we sub out just a little bit of banner right now, but we're just about done with that. In a couple of weeks here, it'll be 100%. We will have achieved that. Implementing standardized packaging. So that's just, if you order something that's a little bit off size, every time you order it, you should get the same packaging. That's not always the case if it's kind of an odd size or something.
Yeah.
And then,
Discombobbled box.
Again, kind of in the same lines of the cross training, we want to standardize and integrate shipping with production. So a lot of the bigger shops that we've seen, they don't have like a separate shipping department. They really ship within the workflow. They consider shipping, packaging as part of the product. And I think, I think it took us a while to see that like shipping and packaging is actually part of the product. I mean, when you go to a retail store and you buy something, the packaging is part of the product, right? Like you're not buying a handful of Ritz crackers that somebody hands you. It's how it's packaged, the sleeves in there and the box. And so it's really no different with the products we sell.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then technology and automation. And I think I'm just going to, if you just kind of put that up there, if people have questions about it, we can talk a little more about it, but just generally, we know we need a new MIS platform. We know we need, and this, finance and revenue is kind of the same. We know we need a new MIS platform. We know we need better KPIs. We know we need a good API program. And then, of course, things like pre-flight, file management, those kinds of things need to be more and more automated. And we want to push them as far forward as we can, meaning if we can pre-flight before you even submit your order, so you upload the order to the website and we run it through all of our automatic pre-flight tools, which we have a ton of them, they're just done after post-order. Mm-hmm. If we can move those pre-flight tools to before you even submit your order, then our clients are getting that feedback immediately, right? And so if you're uploading something that's just not going to print, right now before you even pay for the job that it's not going to print right. And then, perhaps it gives you a chance to, the biggest challenge we have with pre-flight is you guys are busy. You're going to go in, you submit the file, you think everything's good, and then you go off to install signs or you go off to go sell or anything, right? Go on vacation. Who cares what you're doing? But you're not just sitting at your desk waiting for
FireSprint to respond.
FireSprint to respond to you, right? Yeah. And so it's like the faster we can get that while you're sitting there ordering, I think the better our client experience will be.
Yeah.
And so that's a big thing. And it all pretty much drives from there. So I know we get a lot of questions. The only other thing that I kind of wanted to talk about here is we've made some, and this really in the last few days, we've kind of come to some conclusions here on some KPIs that we really want to nail down and track. OEE, every business, and you get into lean manufacturing, one of the things they really stress is bottlenecks, right? Every organization has a bottleneck somewhere. It might be sales in your organization, but once it moves into production,
how do you find your bottlenecks?
So in production, you use your eyes, but in production, you find your bottlenecks because it's where stuff's piled up, right? So if your printer's really fast and it's piling up stuff at the cutter, well, then your cutter's the bottleneck. And for us, our process of cutting, sorting, and packaging is the slowest process. And sometimes it's at cutting, sometimes it's at sorting, sometimes it's at packaging, but it's always right in there. Especially with this new printer that we just bought, that's really going to keep it there. Yeah. And so, our KPI really needs to track the bottleneck, right? It doesn't really matter how fast we print if we can't cut it. It doesn't matter how fast we cut if we don't ship it.
Before we go too far, what's a KPI?
Okay, KPI is key performance indicator. So it's a metric. It's a number that you're tracking, right? And so A KPI for this is view time and viewers on there. So that's what tells us or gives us feedback. Another KPI we might have is, do people click on the links in this video? What's the revenue that drives if they go to our website and order something, right? That might be a KPI. We don't really track that on stuff like this, but so it's a metric for tracking performance, right?
Yep.
And the idea is you want to distill, we talked about this before, but you want to distill a number down that creates a response, right? So when you see it go up or you see it go down, you respond to it. If you're not responding to it, it's not a good KPI. If you see it go up or go down, you're like, and you don't do anything, it's static. It's not a signal, right? It's KPIs can be signals or static. And I think most of us make the mistake of building in too much static and not enough signals. But for us, I think what we're leaning on right now is the OEE, which is the overall equipment effectiveness or efficiency. I've seen it both ways, but basically it's the runtime on the Zune. So for us on the Zune, OEE of the Zunes.
Yeah.
And so our big KPI right now is, first of all, we want to make sure there's not any work in process building up before or after the Zune, just enough to keep the Zunes running. Okay, so you can't have the printer pile up a bunch of work because that'll make the Zune inefficient, and you can't have the Zune operator just take stuff off the Zune and throw it into a big pile and hope that shipping's going to sort it out and figure it out, right? So we keep our inventory low around the Zunes, our work in process inventory. So this printed and cut stuff sitting around the Zunes. Keep that inventory really low. So we actually literally are saying something like only one table full of signage, right? Or something like that. And then you have to stop. And then we're measuring OEE of the Zunes. So if the Zune runs if it's cutting for 30 minutes in an hour, that'd be a 50% OEE, right? Yeah. If it's cutting for, and you can extrapolate the math from there. And so we're tracking that. We're tracking the actual seconds that it's cutting out of the 3,600 seconds in an hour.
How's it tracking that?
So there's a number of ways to track it. There's little tools that you can buy to track this kind of stuff that sense vibration or, amps, spiking over a wire. But we're using Zune Connect software, which we bought it from Zune, and that measures it based on, it's Zune knows whether it's running or not.
You can buy tools that measure vibration or.
Yeah, so IoT Flows is one we're testing to measure vibration.
Yeah.
And so you just basically, if the machine really starts vibrating, you say, in this range of vibration, it's moving or not. But we could talk, we could just go into all that stuff. But
it's a whole other FireHour.
Yeah, but that's our big KPI right now is because at the end of the day, like we're kind of realizing that if we can't cut it, it didn't matter, right? Like it's not necessary. We can sell it pretty easily. We don't have that much of a problem with generating revenue. We don't have that much of a problem with printing, pre-flight. We've got a really awesome team in pre-flight, automating those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. So all that stuff's fairly straightforward for us. It's the cutting, sorting, and packaging that is the slowest spot.
Yeah.
And so that's where we're really trying to figure out, okay, that's what the KPI needs to be. That's what we need to be talking about all the time, right? And so if you guys have questions about that, please, Oh, Bob says, okay, so hold on. Let's get back. Let's do a couple of these, and then I'm going to let you go. He says, boo against my Coke Zero there, TJ. I think TJ is trying to do us a solid. He's that rusty bus. But he's GCI, right?
Yeah.
GCI, they're a competitor of ours, but it's a friendly competition we have with them. They're another trade-only printer, and they're fantastic. And I think they're a lot more flexible in some ways. We're quite a bit more rigid than they are, I would say.
Yeah.
We'll take the small $30 orders. They want the bigger projects. Yeah. I could be wrong, but anyway, I'm just going to shout out to them because he's here, and thank you for supporting us, TJ. We appreciate you, and if you're not going to send the work to us, we'd love to see it go to them. So.
Yeah. Keep it away from the guys with funny numbers in their names.
It is. It's the ones with numbers in their names that are the big ones that are the yeah. And then so Bob, he says, so we were talking about what we have to grow our number of orders to. That is actually annual. So average client ordering 39. Right now, our average repeat client orders
21-ish.
Yeah. Around 20 orders a year. So we want to grow that to the high 30s.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
And then, acrylic probably isn't in our future anytime soon. I'm sorry, Bob. And then he said, I've never had any damages with your packaging. 4 over Cinelite. these other trade printers secure items together, and I usually have damaged corners and scuffs from the items that rub together. I love that has been your experience. We do deal with shipping damage quite a bit because the stuff we're shipping is difficult to ship. But yeah,
Thanks, Bob.
yeah,
You all right?
yeah. I got a little
It's all that.
tickle in my throat.
It's all that Diet Coke.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep going too.
Yep. But you can't drink water because water kills more people than anything else. So
Yeah,
that's
dihydrogen monoxide.
Yeah.
Um, I'm really sorry that your experience with 365 is that they've messed up every order you've ever placed. I think that's probably rare, but that stinks. I mean, that's a pain for everybody.
Yeah.
We don't even want to see that.
That's what
We
I
want
was-
good competitors.
I was just talking to our so every Tuesday we have a manager meeting where we get, like basically anybody who can make a, all right?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Anybody anybody that can make like a big change here, not that just one person, but anybody in the company can make a change. But we have a manager meeting where we bring kind of all the shift leaders and stuff into the office. And one of the things we were talking about is shipping damage, because we have a high rate of shipping damage on foam board. It seems like once a week we have a foam board order that goes. And recently we turned off contour cutting on that to help us limit with that. But it was it's one of the things that I think a lot of people, when you hear feedback, you don't really think of is like, so you got that tracking number from us and you said that this order is going to arrive on Wednesday. You told your client, yep, it'll be ready for you on Thursday. Well, then it gets there Wednesday, it's damaged. It's like, now we've got a minimum of 2 days, because we got to create it and then we got to turn around and ship it. Well, overnight shipping is the fastest way to get it to you unless you're local. And so then you're, like it just, shipping damage just stinks for everybody.
Shipping
It's
damage is hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Bob did say I'm the bottleneck back to.
Me too.
Yeah, talking about, well, I think I think most founders are, right? Most owners, CEOs, entrepreneurs are the bottleneck, right? And you tend to be, because you're taking time to make decisions. You've got a team kind of chomping at the bit to do something, and you're like, no, I don't know that we can afford to do that. Let's do this or whatever. And so making decisive decisions. Letting your team run with things. Once you have a team, if you don't have a team, obviously you're definitely the bottleneck. Mm-hmm. I think that's just the founder's dilemma, right? And I think there's a whole book on that, or maybe that means something else. But generally,
is anybody else having audio issues, or is it how do we sound to you guys?
The audio is kind of low, he says.
Yeah.
Okay. Andrew said he turned it up a little
Thanks,
bit.
Andrew.
I'll pull the mic a little closer too.
Yeah.
Is this better? No. Okay. Sorry.
All right.
Now, thank you for telling us.
Now to the fun part.
Yeah.
So we are going through. So back up to this real quick. We are, one of our marketing initiatives is to launch a new highly functional website, and so I feel like there's a lot of why do we need a new website? What's the why are you asking me to do this?
Yeah. So first of all, let's take a little bit of praise here, because we've been working with our website, which is based on print shop for we're in our 9th year. 2016 we implemented it, and I'm going to go look. How many orders have we placed through our site?
Oh gosh,
I'm going to tell you here in just a second.
several.
So it's the most consistent data point that we have, because it's like we've changed our MIS system over and over again and stuff like that. We stick with the same. So we're on order number. So we started at 200,000, 137,000 orders. Okay. 137,000 orders, which probably means somewhere around 300,000 or 400,000 art files, jobs, like individual packing slips and projects that we had to work on. Because you can place stickers and a banner and a yard sign into an order, and that's all that artwork that's uploaded and everything else. 137,000 we've placed, and we've done. I'm gonna guess around 30 million in total revenue through our site, maybe 25 million in total revenue through our site, and so that's these guys are so supportive. James Reed and thank you so much, you guys.
Hey, we're at tens and tens and tens and
Yes,
tens and tens
yes.
of you.
And
Thanks, James. Good name.
so I just like our site is great, right? In terms of that, I think we can do a lot better. I think it's time. It's still basically the same design that we've had since 2016.
Yeah.
And so it's
Hasn't
time
changed
for
a whole lot.
a makeover.
Yeah. Bring us up to current date.
Yeah.
And then, so one of the things that's also getting wrapped into kind of our facelift, which I'll show you kind of some of the mock-ups of the facelift. But one of the things that's happening is we have a major version upgrade coming, which those are always really good. It's our small version upgrades and stuff. We can kind of push those off and not worry too much about them. Like when we're talking about on print shop system, but it's the biggest reason why it's so important for us to go through this is security issues, right? We want to make sure that we're top of the list with all of our security issues, that we're getting through everything. And that was one of the big issues that we had last year was we were going through our upgrade, and that's why our deadline of February 28th is so important, is because we need to get this done before our busy season, which we start picking up kind of mid-March into April, and then by mid-April to mid-May is like gangbusters. That's usually our busiest 8-week season, or 4 to 6 week season of the year. And so and then again in the
Really
fall,
critical.
so we've got to get it done before then. Last year we did not get our upgrade done before then, and it turned around and bit us in the butt by not having that done. We were dealing with security issues, we were dealing with just things not working correctly, errors were coming up, glitches were happening, and so this just kind of keeps us top of the list. And so we got our
Upgrades
team.
are crazy important. Staying with I mean, it's like staying up to date with Adobe Illustrator or something like that. I mean, you want to have the latest and greatest software, because then you're not going back to your clients or a Pantone book. You need the latest Pantone book because I mean they add colors.
Yeah.
I mean, and so it's just
Well, it
a
maintains,
good business is staying on top of things.
Yeah, it maintains trust as well.
Yes.
Having an up-to-date site
Yes.
shows that we're current with the
Yeah.
times, and it shows that we are, we're a company that cares about our image and stuff like that. And so you have to.
But there's two parts to this. There's like a front end redesign, which is like we haven't done that in a long time, but we've been staying up to date on the newest version of On Print Shop just pretty consistently. They just launched version 12 now to like the public, and we're going to upgrade our site here the next month to do
and
it.
it's
So
typically
stay-
within 1 to 2 months that we do it.
yeah.
So
Our site is heavily customized, so
Yeah.
it takes longer. Like they have to go in and build the upgrade to our customized site, which is, the first time that happened, they were like, we're paying for the license fee, and we have a developer on staff, and they're like, oh yeah, and if you want to upgrade, it's going to cost you more money to the newest version. And it's like, at first but when you start to realize that we forked our site off so much, and what we're actually asking them to do is bring it kind of all back into the fold of the standard product.
Yeah.
There's a ton of work that goes into that, and there's a cost for that.
Yeah, and most of our customizations are due to our pricing. We sell some products by the square inch, we sell some products by the square foot, we round some products up. We've got our screen print. There should be an animated gene. We could do that. That's doable. And then one of the big things, there's two big things that. One of them is just when you come to firesprint.com, if you're a new user, if you've never seen us, heard of us or anything, it takes a little bit for you to figure out that we are actually a trade printer. We don't sell direct at all. There's and so we need to promote that, and we need to be better about that and stuff. And so we're going to kind of rebrand to,
it doesn't say, you're right on our homepage, it doesn't say we're a trade printer. And
so
we absolutely are. Like that's our thing. It's you can't order or see pricing, but
anybody that registers, they go to an approval process, and so actually one of our client services team, they go in and check it and stuff. But
let's get into it. Let's what's the new site? This is a preview for those.
This is our current site. Anybody who's been on it, you've seen it and stuff. Just a quick preview. So they gave us, when we were going through this process, the way it kind of started is they gave us a handful of options, and this is the one that we actually chose for the theme overall. And so obviously this is not our site, and this has got business cards on it and stuff, but this is kind of the overall theme that we like.
So this was like picking a theme. You mean like they gave us a bunch of different looks and feels, and they're like, which one do you like the best? Which one do you want to, what's your starting point, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, exactly.
All right.
And then since we are, more on the custom side, we decided to be even more custom. And so that's where they came in and they actually kind of customized this to our liking. And so we are working through it slowly and stuff.
And
but
what tool are we using to communicate with
Figma.
them?
Figma is the tool that we've
And
been
so
using.
what is Figma?
Figma's it's like somebody out there probably knows way more about this than I do, but
How do you use it?
I use it because it's a design tool that they're able to like take a snapshot of and so this is actually Figma here, and this is our current. So we've got 3 options for our mobile homepage or our homepage at firesprint.com. And so this is option number 2 here. I like this one the best. And obviously the pictures and stuff are going to change. We've got all that. The content that's on here.
We don't have a printer that looks like that at all.
And so, and so but they used AI to kind of generate some of these.
I know, isn't that so cool? So they're like filling in information with just AI generated images, just to give us a better look and feel. This is on Print Shop doing this, right? Or do we hire somebody else to do this?
No, this is on Print Shop.
Okay, on Print Shop's doing this in house.
Yeah.
Okay.
These are all AI generated images, which are like crazy relevant. The banner, the magnet.
That's nuts. That's AI is crazy. It's I tell you, it's one of those waves. We're either going to jump on it and ride it, or it's going to tsunami bury us.
We actually we AI generated this picture of no, I'm just kidding. This is a YouTube link that was embedded. And so we are going to.
It's the start of our shop tour. If you haven't seen that, that's I think the first video on our YouTube.
It is. And so we're going to embed YouTube videos and stuff. There's another spot that we do it. We've got them here, where we're going to kind of embed them because that's probably one of our biggest knowledge sources for products and stuff. And to find
YouTube videos.
So as we continue to grow that. And so, but yeah, so anyways, we've been using Figma. Figma actually started out when they first were showing us mock-ups and stuff. They didn't have anything on here, but they were kind of working through this. And so these were some of the first mock-ups that we were getting. I'll try and scroll slowly through here so it doesn't jump on you too much. But we were just kind of going through and working these out. And Figma's really nice because you can like click and drag things. And they've got a specialist on staff that really understands the software. We've used it internally. We had, like Derek and Bridget and stuff when they were, when she was here, they were like designing things to kind of lay them out and stuff. And it's really good for that. It's kind of like using Illustrator, but
it's called, the process is called wireframing, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. And it's just to try and get everybody on the same page of what, So when you have a team, so a lot of you guys, maybe, you just jump in and you just start picking things. And since you're, the judge, jury, and execution are all in one, with a smaller business like we were when we first started, you just throw stuff up.
Yeah.
But when you start working with a team and you have people working on different pages and everything, something like Figma, the wireframing gets everybody aligned, right?
Yeah. And it's hard because the way that we've always worked with on Print Shop in the past is it's like we kind of like throw it together and then we put it out there and we make it live and then we go through and we critique it and stuff. Well, we're trying not to do it with this time. We're trying to do it the right way. And so Jay's really been helping me kind of keep my mind straight and keep things organized with this. And so he's been really the one that's like been driving, to keep everybody on track, keep the feedback loop going, making sure that we're updating this as necessary.
Everybody's been doing a great job.
He'll pick little things apart here and say, this isn't the kind of map that we want. We want something different, and
ignore this map.
Yeah. Don't.
It's not a real thing. It has nothing to do with shipping time.
And so this was just one of our initial wireframes that we did. And so that's why I'm showing you here. And then kind of flip through these and stuff. But,
okay. So these are mobile versions. Yeah, I haven't even seen those.
So they're showing like mobile versions and stuff. And so we'll hop back to here. And so you can kind of see this one so this will be like our new product page. What we'll do. And, we pick that initial theme, but then we're customizing it from there, right? We're kind of bringing things together. And a lot of these photos are all AI generated. A lot of this stuff is going to change. We're not quite sure how we're going to set this up yet, but we'll be making these decisions here soon. And I'll show you guys our timeline for making all these decisions. But just, the overall look and feel of this page is really kind of what we've been reviewing and looking at. And this is kind of what we've decided on as to how we're going to do it. We're going to stack, options to make make the icons look more clean and easy to understand. We'll have, these don't actually click on anything, but basically you'll be able to thumb through these tabs, making it so that it's not just an endless scroll of our product pages, and so that the content's right there and nicely organized.
So Bob mentioned, I want to interrupt you just for a second because I want to talk. I know we've got a couple of people on here who I've invited here that are like really interested in Print Shop, maybe setting up their own website. I don't know if you have your own site yet or not. I know Bob is working with Inksoft, and the concepts here that I'm going to talk about are all the same. But The first piece of advice I would give, if anybody's asking if you're on here, I guess you kind of are. If anybody's asking my advice on whether or not to set up like a web to print storefront for your business, if you're a small shop or you don't have at least one full-time person to really devote to it, unfortunately, my advice would be don't do it. Right? It's going to take you on this journey that is so challenging. And
Well, it might not be for your clients.
Yeah.
Right?
If your clients don't use it, it's like you're not going to turn this thing on and then suddenly Google's like going to open the floodgates to you. No, it's going to be the clients that are already buying from you that decide to go on here and buy this. Yeah. And then instead of getting a call to place an order, they're going to call you for tech support.
Yeah.
Right?
It took us from 2015 to 2020 to start forcing all orders to our website.
Yeah.
And then it was 2023. It was last year that we decided that, okay, we're no longer going to accept an emailed order.
Yeah. We're 100% e-commerce.
And we, we've seen clients dip off because of that. We've seen other clients grow because of it. We've gotten more clients because our focus has changed. But I mean, it took us our whole lifespan so far, 17 years to really get to the point to where we are today.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I have and we had many versions, many different sites, things like that. We joined on Print Shop in 2016, but we had a custom website before that and a custom website before that. So we had a website in 2012 that you could place orders with. Yeah. But anyway, I have a story about grommets that I want to tell, and it's, if you are going to do this, hopefully this story will resonate with you a little bit. But when we were first, it was our second version of our website. This was maybe 2013, 14. And we had bought a grommet press and we were doing grommets in corrugated plastic, right? And that was like the product that we offered, is you could buy a yard sign with grommets in it. And we were thinking, man, if we add grommets to a yard sign to 24 by 18, suddenly you can only fit 70 in a box where normally you could fit 100. The box weighs more because all this stuff. Yeah. And so we were like trying to calculate, okay, so if somebody selects grommets, we need to change the package dimensions of the product, right? So that we quote shipping correctly. We weren't offering free shipping at the time, so we quote free shipping correctly. And it was like 2 weeks. We were like, Mark and James and I and our developer, we were like talking this out, like, how do we accomplish this with the grommets? And then we stopped and we went back and we looked at it. It's like, man, like, let's just charge a penny more for the grommet, right? Let's go from 34 cents to 35 cents on the grommet. And do we think that'll cover it? Yeah, that'll probably cover all the extra shipping costs, right? If not, we'll adjust it.
You lose some.
And you just make it as simple as you humanly can, because the thing is that probably the time and the energy that we were spending trying to develop a custom grommet shipping calculator, we didn't sell that many grommets to make it matter, right? Yeah. So you put it out there, you put general product information, keep it really, really simple. And don't be afraid. What's going to happen is you're going to have an order come through, you're going to lose some money on it, and then you're going to make a correction. And that's part of it. That's actually probably in most cases less expensive than having the developer working through your website, spending hours and hours trying to just get everything so that like there's no possible way for a client to select something where you lose money. We lose money on jobs all the time on our site, even at our level where we have like 4 full-time people working on our website, and we're willing to lose money on certain jobs because it just makes it simple. It just keeps it simple. And so I can't stress that enough. Our story about grommets, I'm hoping that it resonates with some of you. Make your products as simple as you possibly can.
Yeah. So to get this whole thing started, one of the things that we had to do, which I am not good at, like getting all my ideas down on paper and stuff. I'm really good at talking them through a million different things at once and stuff. And so Jay really helped me come up with this, but you got to create a scope document that brings everything together. And so he went through kind of all the objectives, the measurable results, and I'll scroll through this here. And if anybody wants to talk more about this or wants to hear more about it, please let us know. There's a lot of content here and a lot of things to talk about, but basically, we just kind of went through and got all of our thoughts on paper. And I mean, we've got hours upon hours of talking this through, about kind of what we think, the scope should look like for this. And then also, what's the future needs of firesprint.com? What are other things that we're going to need, to add in the future and stuff? And then obviously, since we have such a tight deadline on this, what's feasible for us to create versus what's something that's got to come in, version 2.0 or something like that, or version 3.0.
And so you don't have an API key or something silly like that we have to go change right now in this document, do you? No. Sorry. It's just, we're pretty open, but we got to be careful. We can't just be sharing passwords and API keys and stuff.
No.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So, So once we kind of gave them that scope document, we picked our theme and everything. This last week, because we're already in January week 2 right now. This last week we got this Gantt chart from on Print Shop, and so Siam came up with this, and he worked with Malik, who's on the design side there, to kind of nail this down and stuff as to what it's gonna take, because we had to add more. We typically always have a junior developer at half or full, and then we have our senior developer at a quarter time. And we had to add 2 designers, another developer. We had to bring Pooja, who's our junior.
What do you
developer,
think this is going to cost for us to do the upgrade and all the changes to the website?
Around 10,000 is what.
That's just on their side.
That's their side.
And then our side, you
then
got. I mean, it's what all Jay is working on for the most part.
Yeah.
So
Me
yeah,
and
we're
Jay.
we're
Yep.
we're probably at 20 or 30,000 for just the upgrade, and that's like no new content or anything else like
Yeah.
that. That's just changing the whole feel and making
Yeah.
sure that we're fully up to
Yeah.
date.
So it's a big change, but part of that is when you come to firesprint.com, what's our conversion? One of the things that we're doing is we're measuring our conversion rate.
Yeah.
Right? How many people come to firesprint.com and actually realize that they're in the right place, right? And we typically have a pretty good rate of, sign shops, promotional products distributors, people who can actually buy from us. We really don't have to decline too many people. We probably get 1 or 2 a week out of the 25 or 26, registrations that we get. And so really, like, our site is doing a good job of relaying that we are trade only, but we get 10,000 visitors a week. Why are more of them not registering with us, right? And so we're hoping that this redesign really kind of helps with that, brings more people in, gets more people to register. We're really looking for more conversions.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And then, from a product standpoint, one of the things that we had to do was create a.
You know what? I have a quick question. How are you communicating with On-Print Shop? So I know we have one of the challenges I think that scare a lot of people is the language barrier, right? They're all in India,
Yep.
right? We've got a time zone issue, and then we have a language barrier. They all speak English probably way gooder than me, right? But there's a thick accent with it, right? So there's that challenge. So what are you doing to overcome? Let's start with the time zone issue, because it's like our day is their night, right?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Well, it'd be tough.
It'd be tough.
It'd be tough.
Okay.
So no,
that's actually real good.
Yeah.
I'm just go ahead.
Sorry, I had to respond to your. So they typically work, are like 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. kind of thing is where, and then Siam is usually available since he's the senior developer. He's usually available till 11 or 12. And so it's important.
So when are you scheduling meetings?
Usually either 6:30 or 9 a.m. So 6:30 a.m. or 9 a.m. And part of that is due to me just because, I take my kids to school.
Yeah.
But they're at their best before 8 a.m. and we're at our best after 8 a.m. And so just kind of depending on who's in the meeting, if I got to bring like Andrew into it, I can't do it until after 8 because he doesn't get to work till 8. And I'm not going to make him wake up early. Right. Or Jay, I really try not to make
I
him
didn't
wake
know
up too
Andrew
early.
slept.
Just to recharge.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what that was. Sorry. This was a plugging in. I don't know how that is a
was-
plugging in.
that was dumb,
Yeah.
Dean.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
So
it's okay.
anyway.
I accept that.
But
Okay, so I know I see it
Yeah.
on your calendar. You've got like a call with them like twice a week at like 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Right. So you're just doing that from home. You're in your pajamas.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
usually
then
try to put a hat on because I have bedhead. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but we just try to communicate as much as we can, and then we use Skype. That's always kind of been their preferred method, and we've just made it work with us.
So how are you overcoming the language barrier, the accents and things like that?
It is tough.
What's the best way to do that?
It's challenging. The biggest thing is we've been working with them for so long that we've kind of gotten used to each other. But you just slow down, and if you don't understand something, when you're working with people, it's not just on Print Shop, right? We have a designer overseas. We've got, you've got your assistant, and stuff. And there's accents with each one of them. Their English is really good, but you have to kind of learn if you're going to use
these idioms and things like that, the way we speak and
if you're going to use external help like that, that's overseas, there's a huge advantage to
the
it.
not jokes, right?
Yeah.
The shirt is white, not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't, you can't use those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. So, but you have to figure out how to kind of
So I feel like visuals are crazy important, right? Just like what you have on your screen here,
They are.
rather than like trying to do everything verbally. So when James and I are talking, we'll have a long discussion for an hour. We'll take a couple of notes, not a lot of visuals. When you're talking with anybody, whether it's a language barrier or even like just somebody new to the industry, right?
Yep.
Using lots of visuals. So we're screen sharing, we're taking screenshots. It's always like, hey, this isn't doing what I want to
And you're
do. So you're taking a
constantly-
screenshot and sending it, right?
Yeah, you're constantly coming back because there's something that could have been missed, or there's something that wasn't understood, and they thought of a different way. You're constantly coming back to, well, this was our initial idea. Like, we want to stick with something
Yeah.
close to this, right? And we like the way that this specifically worked, or this specifically looked, right? We like the way that this bounces when you hover over it, or we don't want this to bounce when you hover over it. Things like that. And so you have to find your points, and so the scope document is extremely important. Your scope document, and then you got the Gantt chart. All these things are extremely important to make sure that you are, as a project manager for something like this, you have to just consistently just go back and go back and go back and just make sure that things are.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm reading the comments. They're like, Bob Hutchinson says, I added 6 new positions this year and I hired myself to fill them all. I understand. I know Darren has been talking about this a lot. There's a book. Oh my gosh, the name is escaping me. He says 80% done by somebody else is 100% awesome. And Buy Back Your Time is the name of the book. Love that one. That's the one that convinced me to hire a virtual assistant. And so my email and things like that is being filtered by a virtual assistant. Her name is Jem. She's doing a great job. Yeah, it really kind of becomes, if you want to scale, I mean, like the most important, I would say the single most important skill that I focus on, that I feel like I need to learn for us to scale, is delegation. Like, how do I get my ideas out, have somebody else take them and run with them, add to them, make them better, and then come back and then with a completed, and that, I mean, you need teams to get stuff done.
Yeah.
But I completely feel, I mean, we went just years where it was just the 3 of us or maybe one other person. So I get it. I get it. 6 new positions, and I hired myself to fill all of them.
One of the things that's really important when you're working with somebody overseas, obviously you need to do everything you can to be a part of their culture, right? And understand their culture. But his name is Bob. That's funny. So,
Sorry.
but
Okay.
you
Focus.
You got to be straightforward with them, right?
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to say, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you're working with somebody here in the United States, it's in your office, you got to kind of, tiptoe around something like that.
Yeah.
Give them a straight answer back.
Yeah.
Right.
Be direct.
And they appreciate that.
Frankly, you should be more direct with people. I don't think, most of us aren't direct enough with people here in the U.S. either. But because, I mean, people appreciate knowing where they stand.
Yeah.
It just seems hard sometimes. But it's really critically important when you're working with somebody not face to face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, so this is kind of where we're at so far. Obviously, we're the second week into this Gantt chart. We got a long ways to go. We have just a ton of work to get done, before we're kind of on our final sign off week. But and then not to mention it, we have a trade show right in the middle, which that always is just an immense amount of resources.
So again, we'll be at the PPAI show at the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas.
Yep, booth 1513. And if you're there, we'd love to tell us that you're going to be there. We'd love to talk to you, and we'd love to meet you at the booth and stuff. And I've convinced my wife to help me as well, but it's just
No, it's you know what, I will say, one of the reasons why I just absolutely love this industry is how easy it is to get into it. There's not a huge barrier to entry, so it's very entrepreneurial. There are just thousands, millions of people who are just kind of stepping into it, and then you can take it as big as you want. I mean, there's $500 million, $1 billion printers, but you can start in a garage, just like we did.
Yeah.
We started in our parents' basement, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't know of another industry that's like that, where your barrier to entries are so low, but it's so ubiquitous. It's everywhere. There's so much opportunity for growth. don't get me wrong, it's pretty hard to just strike it rich in print, but a lot of businesses you think you can strike it rich are very hard in those industries as well. Like this is one of those things you kind of hold on, and over time you can do that. And that's what I love about it. I love all the small businesses that we work with. You know, just the entrepreneurial spirit that people have. And it's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get this done. I'm excited about the next sale, you know?
Well, it's cool. All the 1-person companies, all the 20-person companies, all the 100-people companies, right?
Yeah.
Just the huge variety.
Yeah.
And they all have room in the industry to grow.
Yeah.
They've all got, it's a cool one to be a part of.
So,
this is I didn't show you guys this yet, but this is kind of our just a wireframe of our sitemap so far. This is kind of currently where we sit. We have a few things to
you zoom in on like just a section and then just talk about that just specifically just for one more minute that we've got here.
But one of the things that is really bugging me about our current site is since we sell by the square inch, the square foot, you know, and then we have like a rounding tool and stuff across different products, is we'll have a client go in and place an order and they could, you know, if they navigate the wrong way or something, or if they don't dig deep enough into it, they might not find the best possible price on something. And so it really kind of drives me nuts to see like an order come in and then see that they paid more than they should have for something. And so one of the things we hope to fix with this upgrade is getting a couple things that we're going to do is we're going to try and mesh some of our pricing together. And so, you know, we'll have some pricing come down and then some pricing might have to go up a little bit to kind of mesh that, but in hopes that it makes it easier to navigate. We're not going to change pricing too much, I don't think. But, you know, and obviously we'll try to communicate that if we do. But it's really just, you know, how do we drive people to the right product and allow them to have that trust in knowing that they are ordering the right thing.
Yeah, we don't want somebody to order on our site and realize, oh, I should have ordered a different way to save some money. That's challenging, but it's just, we need to do a better job of doing that with the different pricing structures we have. So,
and so we've got a long ways to go on our site map here, but this is kind of how we've started it, you know, with our products and stuff. And so, and I think Jay just built this in Excel.
Yep.
And so you can do it. You could do it in Figma. You could do it on a whiteboard. You know.
Cool.
So,
all right.
I hope that was helpful to those of you guys that watch this.
And hopefully we see a couple of you at PPAI next week.
Yeah. Let us know if you're going to be there.
Yeah.
We'd love to meet you in person. So, but thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back with you guys on the 23rd is the plan. So.
Yep. Every other Thursday is kind of our aim.
Yep.
Yeah. So, okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.